Hey everyone, today I wanted to talk about whether or not the two Zelda games on the Wii, Twilight Princess and Skyward Sword, are still worth playing today in 2025. So let me just say, I haven't really played a whole lot of Zelda games, to be honest. I played, the original Adventure of Link. This is the second game that ever came out. I played this at my friend's house, I remember, when I was like a little kid, and I said, wow, this looks really cool. But I never really got to play it a whole lot, we just kind of saw him playing it mostly, and I enjoyed the music and everything, but it wasn't until I got my Super Nintendo later and was able to play Link to the Past that I was really just blown away with, a true Zelda game, where you're going around solving puzzles, collecting items, and just the whole atmosphere of Zelda really was awesome. I think I played this game at least like 4 or 5 times now. And a year ago, actually, I went for a long time without playing any Zelda. I didn't play this until last year, but this game was amazing. I thought it was actually one of the best games I ever played. And it really got me excited to just kind of, look into other games in the series and say, hey, are there any other Zelda games that are going to be awesome like this one? So a long time ago, when I was game hunting and just grabbing games up at Goodwill all the time, I actually got Zelda Twilight Princess. This cost me like $3 if I remember right. And I just never really was hot to play it because for some reason I'd always kind of heard that it wasn't a good game.
Excuse me, princess.
And I don't really remember where or how I got that idea. I just remember thinking that it was almost like a budget title or something. Maybe just because I heard there was nothing but shovelware on the Wii at the time. And I never had a Wii back when it was new either. That's another thing I got fairly recently in life. But once I started playing this, I said, wow, this is actually a pretty good game. They put a lot of work into it, and I'm going to give it a chance. So I set up my Wii in my living room, and I ran it through a RetroTink into my big OLED that I've got out here. And the graphics actually impressed me. They're what you expect. They're a little grainy for 480p, but the upscaler made them look pretty decent, actually, and I was impressed with just the graphical quality. And what you do is you start off in this town, and at first I was a little put off because Link did not look like Link at all. He looked like a different character completely, and I said, oh, what's going on here? So I played it, just like an hour or so, and I think I made a post about it. It's like, hey, this game looks pretty interesting. But after that, I went on to play even more. And after maybe like 3 or 4 hours, I was like, wow, I'm hooked into this game. Because after you go through kind of the beginning sequence and you go through like their little tutorial missions they give you and stuff, the game kind of gets into the mission, and Link gets suited up in his traditional green clothes, I guess. And now you're like, okay, this actually looks like a Zelda game now. So you got a horse to ride, and that's what makes it a little bit different than the other Zelda games that I've played. They're trying to put all these like mechanics in that also work with the motion controls. And at first I was kind of put off by the motion controls, to be honest. I said, this just feels weird compared to normal controller.
Well, excuse me, princess.
At first I thought the gameplay was a little gimmicky. You're using the Wiimote to kind of swing your sword, you shake the shake the Wiimote around and you swing your sword, and man, you do not want to play this game with other people around you because you look like an idiot playing. Let me tell you, you will be embarrassed, and other people will be embarrassed for you if you play this game around them. But anyway, after you get past that, the game actually is really fun, and it uses kind of the same what is it? In every Zelda game, you're kind of doing the same thing in a lot of ways. You're going from one dungeon where you pick up an item that you use in the dungeon to beat the boss, and then you're going to another dungeon where you got to find another item to beat that boss, and you use the item that you collected to get to the next area, and so on and so forth. But actually, the thing about Zelda that makes it fun is the story. You know, it's not just like a boring dungeon crawler. It's, you know, you're going all over the place, and they've got very different worlds. Well, not worlds, but different like environments you're checking out. And, you know, you can go underwater, you can go up in the mountains where it's snowing, you can just go all over the place. And they really put a lot of work into this game, I gotta say. You know, at the time this came out, I thought it was just almost gonna be like a budget game. You know, I'm like, oh, a game would probably be only fun for like 5 hours or whatever. I don't know where I got this idea, but I ended up putting over 50 hours on this game to beat it. And I think I did most everything in the game. I might have left out like, I don't know, one heart container somewhere or something. But I think, if I remember right, I collected just everything in the game and just had a blast with it. So, after I got finished with this, usually I'll wait a little bit before I play another game, but I just had so much fun with it, I jumped immediately into Skyward Sword. Now, this game I didn't get at Goodwill. I actually paid like $15 for it on eBay. I think I bought it after I played Breath of the Wild, just because I said, wow, this, you know, Breath of the Wild is so cool, I gotta check this other Zelda game out too. So anyway, I waited till now to play this one. And this one is very similar to Twilight Princess in just the way you play it, and graphics, obviously. But it's also a different feeling, I guess you could say. Whereas Zelda Twilight Princess is kind of like a darker, scarier world. You know, where Link's turning into a wolf when the twilight comes and all this kind of stuff. This one is a lot more like colorful, and I don't want to say cartoony, but it's not dark at all. I don't know. maybe they had parents complaining that the game looked too dark before, so they really brightened it up. And everywhere you go in this world is just like bright colors, you know, silly looking animals and enemies. I mean, it's not like childish feeling, but it does feel a lot different. And when I first started playing this one, I was actually a little disappointed with the graphics, even though Twilight Princess came out in, I think it was 2006. This one came out like 5 years later, and I thought, wow, they'll probably make the graphics better. But what they ended up doing, they made some things better, like the lighting I could tell is a little bit better, and maybe, you know, maybe just some kind of camera stuff. The texture quality in the environments seemed a lot lower than in Twilight Princess for some reason. So on the onset of when you're starting this game, you're like, what is going on here? This looks worse. Why? It's a newer game.
Well, excuse me, princess!
But you kind of get used to the graphical style after a little bit, I'd say. And this was another fantastic game, I thought. You know, there's another game I kind of had mixed feelings about playing, but I said, you know, I'll just give it a shot and see what I think about it. And I ended up putting I think I put like 60 hours on this one, guys. Because not only did I finish the main story, but after you beat the game, you can actually go into like it's not a New Game Plus, but it's kind of like they call it hero mode. It's kind of like a hard mode. So you'll start from the beginning again, and you'll have some things that you collected, but you pretty much just have to go through the whole game again on hard. So I did that for a little bit, and then I'm like, oh, okay, I probably should stop playing this. So I've gotten a lot of entertainment out of these games for really relatively very little money, I'd say. Both these games, I think, are the cheapest Zelda games you can buy. And that's not because they're bad. I think it's just because they're so common, or, you know, maybe a lot of people just had the same opinion I did. Like, oh, they're really not worth playing. They're old Wii games, you know. Why would I want to try these, you know, when I could just play, you know, the Switch remasters or whatnot, or the Wii U remaster. So I'd say the biggest factor whether or not you're really going to enjoy these games on the Wii is if you can accept just like the motion controls for what they are on the Wii. It does get a little tiresome swinging the Wiimote for 50 hours. I'll be honest, my arms started to hurt a little bit after all that. But, they did make HD versions later. You can play on the Wii U and the Switch, I believe, where the controls are different. So, if you don't want to deal with the Wii U at all, or the Wii at all, and, the older graphics or the controls, you can just replay on the newer systems, which is really cool, I think. But if you want to play the Wii U version of Twilight Princess, I think it's like $100. You can get the Skyward Sword on Switch for much cheaper, I'm sure. But you can still enjoy these games really any way you want today. That's the great thing about modern gaming, I'd say. So yeah, guys, that's really all I had to say about these two games today. They're both really good still, I think. And these are games that really are actually for all ages. If you're 5 years old, you can enjoy these games. If you're 55 years old, you can enjoy these games, I think. And that's what really makes a franchise like Zelda really amazing, and it's why this character's been around forever and the series has been around forever, and anytime a new game comes out, people get really excited. I gotta be honest, I'd buy a Switch 2 today if there was another if there was a brand new Zelda game out for it. But anyway, that's it, and hope you guys are enjoying your games out there, and I will talk to you soon.